Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Alameen. Assalatu salam ala Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma akina min dalimeen. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi barakatuh. Lekwani wati fi din. Salamu ala mani tabahud lekwani fi Afrika, Europa, America, Caribbean, wa kuli makan. I had a lot of difficulties. Excuse me for being late, but the enemy was doing their evil and dirty tricks as usual. And I figured this topic, I had made my complaints. They had disconnected everything, net, card, and they had even removed into my SteamYard the program at hand. And I'm not even sure if anyone's online, if anybody can hear me. If they can't, please give me a shout out to let me know that they can see me, because I don't even know. I've got a notice up here again where they're trying to disconnect me, and this is really a shame. Okay, good. Thank you, my dear brother. Thank you very much for showing that. And okay, that's good to know. And you know, this is a sensitive topic. I kind of discussed it with my brother here a little bit, Mr. King Cam here. Please subscribe to his station. It's a good brother, and he is also on cue with Africa and his commentary on the ancient Kemt and East Africa, Nubia, and so forth, so on. You should subscribe to this brother's station here to get a good uh, uh, background on what happened and how these beautiful kingdoms on our continent flourished and so forth and so on. He gets it deep down into it to explain a lot of things that you may not understand. So please subscribe to my brother King Cam's uh, podcast. Okay, my dear sister is here. Let me show her as well. Thank you, my dear sister, for showing up today. And Brother Cam here is also giving her greetings. My dear brothers and sisters, this is a very sensitive topic. As you know, I am writing a lot of things, and I'm here in Africa. And to be honest with you, I never thought when I came here that I would have to deal with a bunch of genocidal, racist white men, Toubab, as we know them in the Fulani language. And I uncovered something here the other day that was very, very, and I'm taking steps to do things now, where two of the Toubab who go to Masjid Aisha, I got pictures of them, but they removed them, and I had videos, they removed them. They were setting up something to where they were, my understanding, were trying to catch me out and kidnap me. They would use local criminals who were in cars to trap me, five, six, seven, so it'd be so many of them, get me, put me in the car, because we know they kill here. And I'm hoping that the government here does something to stop these bastards. And they're cowards. There's two of them live over here where I'm living at now, and they talk a lot. I told you before, we have rules of engagement as Muslims. We just can't go after people. But if they come after you, you go after them. If they come in your face, you deal with them. They come grab you, you deal with them. They go after your children and your wife, you fight them. This here is a serious matter when you talk about kidnapping someone, and you know why they're kidnapping, to kill. See, so when I got word of that, then I went out there this morning and I had my video. I wait for them to show up. See, and the two Bob who are inside the mesh over here, they're in disguise. They're cowards, and I have to tell you like it is. And so this topic here is right on line with that. Uh, these guys are not Muslims. They're kuffar who act like Muslims, and they're hiring local Moroccans and even some policemen undercover here to go to Masjid Aisha. This is the biggest masjid here in Fez. Beautiful masjid, beautiful. I live right close to there, in a pretty exclusive area. So they go to this here and they filled it full of criminals. Bottom line, they drove all our brothers out. Only ones in there now is these criminals who they bring in there. They can't even make their prayers right. I had an argument the other day where a guy hit me 5 times inside the line. Not hit like this, but what he was doing is using the elbow to bump me. And as you try to pray, you can't pray if somebody's knocking your arm off or somebody's hitting you in the ribs. And they're not hitting you hard. They just do enough to disturb your prayer. These are not Muslims who do this. See, there's not Muslims who do this type of thing. So I'm hoping that the government, they may not be able to do too much because of the treaties they have with the Americans and so forth and so on. But at least they have enough authority to stop this stuff and go after the Moroccan criminals who they're using, who in cars. I had videos. I think they removed some of them. I still got some of them over here saved up where I got these people in cars. Because the other day I came out, there's a whole bunch of them in the car and they started using bad language towards me. I ignored them. I just ignored them. I said, okay, to get out of the car before they try to attack me, I'm going to get them. I'm going to hit some of them, at least try to take some of them out before they try to get me. This shouldn't even be. They shouldn't even be allowed to do this. Because I can understand if I was in IS or something, but those are the people who they don't want to go after. They only want to go after people like me. So this topic here is right on time because this shows what happens on our continent when we allow the Toubab to come into the continent and do their thing, which is evil. We got 5,000 years of it, 5,000 years of this. And I'm going to cover this into modern times. What I found out here the other day was so disarming. One of the prominent Fulani groups is infiltrated with Toubab. Now, I asked a question, brothers and sisters. This is sensitive. I don't expect anybody to answer this. I understand everybody's sensitivities. How in the hell can you allow somebody who is not Fulani, someone who's not African, someone who is not black, who has nothing to do with this continent at all? They're crusaders, we know in Arabic as Salibiyin, come into your organization, and when you have, for the last 3 years now, you've had killings, you had leaders who had their addresses exposed, we had kidnappings in this prominent Fulani organization, and because they've been compromised. And it's coincidental that they allowed all of these Toubab, who I don't know how they don't live there in Nigeria. They're not among the Fulani. How do they allow them to come in? Our leaders have been kidnapped. Some of our leaders were killed. Suddenly, when they let them in here, all of this transpires. See, it's incredible. So I'm putting it out and so forth and so on. Because as a Muslim, I have to tell the truth. I am, I'm just ordinary Muslim. And I'm hoping that, I go to Jannah. I can only hope. We know Allah Alam on that. We can only hope for that. And we hope for the best spot in Jannah. We can only hope for that. And it's disheartening when you have laws that we have here where we have what's called the Aqidah Muslim in Arabic, because everything here is Arabic, meaning that you have the right, this is a Muslim country. The Toubab like this who go to the embassy, from the embassy who goes to the masjids to take your Islam from you, to stop you from the masjid, stop you from worshiping. This is what we call the Aqidah Muslim. They're trying to do that. They're trying to take you from Iman to Kufr. Bottom line, they're trying to stop you from worshiping. And they use Moroccan policemen too. And I always tell them, I'm not going to let you arrest me. I always tell them that. Because I'm going to the masjid, they come over talking about, you had no right to be here. You're black. Some of them even use racism now. And some of them are almost brown as I am. And I have pictures of one of the bastards who does this, who told me to get out. I ignored him. I laughed at him and went on ahead and prayed. See? So this is everywhere. Now let's get started. Let me see what our brothers here have to say here. Let me see. Okay, our brother here, what he had to say here. Here, they're going to, yeah. Yes, under the agreement, this is why it's illegal in Islam. Under agreement, they are allowed to commit crimes. You can't arrest them. They're allowed to commit crimes in this country and other countries under their agreements. But yet and still, if we commit crimes in there, then we're supposed to turn our people over to them. But yet they here, they can commit crimes against us here. We can't touch them. This is why they do what they do. But the Moroccans who are helping them don't have this immunity because these Toubab cannot do what they're doing without the help of Moroccan criminals and policemen to assist them. When a policeman walk up to you who just hit you inside the masjid, talking about I'm from the police, I tell him straight out. I said, look, man, hey, what you done here is illegal, and I'm not going to let you arrest me or take me or talk to me about anything because I'm not doing anything wrong. Why are you here next to me anyway? I'm going to the masjid. I just prayed. I'm inside the masjid. I'm going home. Why are you here? See, I tell them straight out. I tell them straight out. Like the one told me the other day here. I got a picture of both of them. He told me, because of the fitra of Allah, of those who understand Islamic law, I go feed cats. They're stray. Nobody takes care of them. I feel sorry for them. Nobody takes. It's not their fault. They have their babies and everything. It's not their fault. So I try to get Ajr Allah. So I go to feed them. This bastard who says he's worked with the police comes in his car to tell me under the Qanun, the Arabic meaning the law, that I have no right to do this and he could arrest me. I laughed at him. I said, that's not what the Qanun says. Matter of fact, we have articles where they talk about we should have benevolence because this is Islamic to feed the animals so they don't starve. And it's hot here now. They need water. It's not their fault that they're here. So I give him water and food. I laughed at him and walked away. When he started to get out of his car, I said, okay, you want to get out your car? So I start to approach him. I'm not going to let him come to put his hands on me. See? So this is the type of stuff. And they hire people. My Bluetooth I saw in there. 22 people have access to my security cameras. It goes on and on and on. I cannot do anything until that Toubab comes next to me to put his hands on me. Then I will show him. And the Moroccans who are assisting him, I'm hoping the government who are monitoring this get these guys because it's wrong what they're doing. They work with the police undercover. No one is giving them authority to do this. That's why they put makeup, they do things to cover. It's hot as hell here, okay? And they cover their face like it's freezing outside. So that way they can be detected. And they work for the Toubab out of the embassy. They work for them. So this is the type of thing, and it's on topic, brothers and sisters. I'm going to get into this. It's on topic. And we got here, yes, and it goes on, and I'm going to cover this type of thing because I got to talk about it. No, we have to talk about this. We got to talk about this because it's not right. And when you have, I don't understand black people. I just don't understand them in this regard. We've had how many centuries of this treachery and betrayal, and we still let them come into our organizations. Yes, African people, we're so universal. We love everyone. We're so forgiving. But it's to a fault. When you have an evil man, Subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran about this. When you have an evil man who's approaching you with something, you don't take for granted what he says, you check it out. Our people are but it's switching today. They're benevolent toward the Toubab, but when it's another African, they are hard on him. See, watch him, accuse him, but the Toubab is standing right here. They let him go. They don't accuse him. They don't think anything. Just let him infiltrate their organizations. But I come, I don't know. This black, he's from America. I wonder if he's CIA. You got a Toubab. You just let in 10, 15 Toubab next to you here. You don't question if they're CIA or FBI, but you're going to question me? Oh, come on now. This is the colonial mentality that we have. It's bad. Yes, we have to have that. We need as much help as we can. We see the Toubab, yes, they're everywhere. And now we have to say, I'll get into this. We have to be very careful that we don't paint every Toubab because I'll get into that. because we have history of many of them are not like this. And I'll get into that. So I'm going to be okay, wait a minute now. Who is this brother here? Okay, thank you, my dear brother, for giving your greetings. Black people have a power in mass. In isolation, we have no power. Yes, brother, true. We need to support more people investing and moving to certain areas. Yes, we need that. But we have a problem as African people. We have a serious problem, brothers and sisters. The progress on this continent is always stymied because every time as we move forward, a Toubab comes to knock it back. And it's our fault. Every time that we try to build, they go to stop it. When we have the African passport, which was approved in 2021, it was approved for all Africans on this continent to have it. The Toubab shut it down, and they listened to them. The AU listened to them, and they shut the program down. When they wanted to open up the borders, they shut it down. Every time we want to progress, they shoot things down. They stop it. Gaddafi wanted to be president of AU. It looked like he was going to be voted. He said he wanted to be, hilariously, he said the king of Africa. And he proposed to start to include the African Americans, the Caribbean Africans, and you heard me talk about this the other day, and give us passports so we can come in, because we're Africans, to come in and out of the continent. He was killed. Every time we have some progress, they shoot it down. If you look at the investment in our beautiful country of Morocco and across, where? None. Because here the Toubab wants only investment going into their programs to go spying on one another, have everybody spying on one another. This is what they want. You think the people out at the embassy, I don't understand this because they infiltrate organizations here. The embassy is not here to support Islamic ideals. They're not. It's here to destroy that. See? And this has been going on 5,000 years. As you hear me say here, and I'll take one more after this, and then I'll start my program here. Now, brothers and sisters, I'm going to get into this here. Can we say that the Toubab invasion of Africa has benefited us? You know my opinion probably already on this, but we have Africans and Black Americans and others may say, well, hey, when the Toubab came, he did this and that, and so forth and so on. But when those who say this, please bring up your support. If you say that the invasions that they've had for 5,000 years on this continent has benefited us, you show me the proof. Does history support them in their role in destruction of our civilizations? Huh? The Islamic empires, what happened to it? When the colonial period came, they destroyed all of that. What happened to the resources? They took and killed millions over it. Look at the Congo. The crazy Belgium who was running it killed 1 million, cutting off their hands and feet and everything else, getting diamonds out. He was a butcher. We can go all the way down the line. It just goes on and on. We're talking mainly about Western Europeans and Belgians as well. The Belgians, they were just cruel. And you know what has happened in South Africa. They have not benefited this country. I'm going to get more into this. Should we allow them to join? This is what, please, brothers and sisters, on this. Those who have enough gumption, who are not afraid, and please, you have sensitivities. If you're living in certain areas, don't comment to get yourself in trouble. Because many of us, we know you're under fire or whatever. I don't expect you to answer. I'm not calling you a coward. Please, I'm not trying to suggest that. I'm putting this thing out here. If you comment, more power to you. You cannot, we understand. I'm not here to judge for that. Should we allow them to join ethnic and exclusive African organizations? Now, let me ask you something. On this continent, we have we have Hausa, we have Mende, Mendika. What in the hell will a white man who's living in Europe, what is his connection to the Mende and the Mendika? Come on now. Come on. And how in the hell he is allowed to come in and move up the ranks on top of that? Please, Someone explain that to me. Please, someone explain that. This travesty. How? Why don't Africans join exclusive Irish clubs? We know better, don't we? How many African Americans run to go join the Irish? We shouldn't. What do I have in common with them? Or the British, their British clubs and so forth. It's their culture, their language, and so forth and so on. I have nothing in common with them. So why would I need to go over to them? Now let's look at that analogy. The black man, we see their clubs, the French club, the British, the Irish, the Scottish. We respect it. That's theirs because that's their culture. We don't try to join it. But when those bastards come in ours, we let them in. And why don't we use the same logic? We have to ask the question: what is this Irishman doing here in the Fulani organization? What is? I mean, what is his connection to us? Now, if he's married to a Fulani woman, he could be pro Fulani. You know, we have that in history, which I'll cover some of that as well. But some of these guys are not even investigated, and they allow them to come in and infiltrate and move them up the ranks. And then when you start to have kidnappings, you start to have people's compromises, you start to have raids where police suddenly come and a lie is generated on a group of brothers in that particular organization who are meeting, talking about, politics of their meeting and so forth, so on, are raided because they've been accused of terrorism. Where is these leaks coming from? You just allowed all the Toubab to start to come in and infiltrate up to your high ranks. And suddenly your people start getting kidnapped and killed. And you have people, mass arrest of people over terrorism charges when they weren't terrorists. Please, please, please. We don't, as Africans join their clubs. We don't. Why we need to join the Irish club? I respect the Irish. That's their clubs. I respect that. What commonality does the Toubab have with the Fulani issues? That's what I'm asking some of my Fulani brothers who are allowing them not only come in, but move up the ranks. They're sitting there in the meetings. How? How is that? And then you come back and you wonder, why was this leader kidnapped and killed? How did they find his place? How did they arrest 10, 15 of our brothers in the organization, accuse them of terrorism? How did they even find out about these meetings? This is what I'm talking about, brothers and sisters. What role did it play in American civil rights movement? Now, this here, we have to tell the truth. I'm a Muslim. I'll get to you guys in a few minutes. Please hold this. I need to make this point. In America, we have prominent whites who have always been involved, and they were not treacherous individuals. We had Toubab who were prominent in many organizations in civil rights movements. We had Toubabs who got killed over their support of African Americans. We had Underground Railroad. We had other societies of Toubab who were trying to protect the rights of African slaves. They had some that even formed societies, pooled their money together, freed blacks, and sent them back to Africa. We had that. They were always part of the civil rights movements in the United States. Those whites, there, yes. Not here in Africa, it's a different situation. See, different situation. In the United States, they've always been part. The whites and Jews have always been part of black African struggles. You cannot deny that. You cannot. You had John Brown, who fought on behalf of black Africans and died. You had many who fought, died for the advancement of the African American. You had that. See? And let's look at something else. You go back and do your research on this, brothers and sisters. Our brother Al-Hajj Malcolm, you know him as Malcolm X, who was one of his closest associates. And they try to hide this. Who was one of his closest associates? She was Japanese. She was more black nationalist. You check her name out. It's long. I don't want to give anything. You go check it. I want you to do your research. I don't want to do everything for you. You do your research. And the real story was that when he was shot, Rahimahullah, he was laying there. She came to him because she was in the backstages. She was urging him, don't go. She didn't feel good. She's told him, I don't feel good that you go out there. I feel, she says in her book, that they will kill you and I'll never be to see you, because she was an admirer of Malcolm and she was Japanese. So we've had these type of things in America. You guys do your research on this. We have to tell the truth as it is. This Japanese woman was more black nationalist than many of us, and she was Japanese. Do your research. Do your research on Malcolm, and you find her. Get the real story what happened to our brother Harim Hallah when he was killed. Who was there? The wife was trying to make it to him. She met him first when he was down. Plus, an FBI agent was there next to him who was black, who infiltrated and so forth and so on. But she was there, and she says, "Don't go, Malcolm. Don't go. Read what she had wrote. It'll bring you to tears." She's Japanese. She's not African American. So we have to tell the truth on these issues. When something is right, it's right. We had whites, Toubab, in civil rights organizations, and they died for us. Many. They marched with us. They got their heads beat in along with African Americans in protest. How about those three who were killed in Mississippi? Remember the movie Mississippi Burning? Those three, it was three, but one was African American, I think, and two of them were Toubab. Remember that? Huh? Remember that? Some of the organizers against this, who organized the people to vote, were Jews, white Jews. See, so we had that in the United States. We've always had them with us, always. But on the continent, that's a whole damn different story. There's a whole damn different story. It's not the same like in the United States. Totally different. Now let's get to this. Well, first let's get to our brothers here. Let me honor some of our brothers, see what we had to say. Okay, we've covered that one. Our brother here, yes sir, yes sir. Okay, our brother said absolutely not, and our brother says here they would make them yes, everything yes. This is troubling. You are a black man. You're Hausa, you're Fulani, or you Tiv, or you're Yoruba, you're Mende, or you're Dinka, you're Wolof, or you're Siri. And a white man walks up to you, you don't know who in the hell he is. He says, I want to join your organization, and you let him come in? And not only that, you move him up the ranks? How? And then when your people start getting killed, you start having your program compromised, you start scratching your head talking about you don't know why. Come on now. Come on, brothers. What the hell is wrong with you? How can some Toubab walk into a Fulani prominent organization, huh? Not only join it, start coming in and making damn decisions. They're not African. They're not black. They're not even Muslims. How? They're not Fulani. They have nothing to do with our continent. What the hell are you allowing them to come in your prominent organization, Fulani herdsmen? And then now we have, for the last 3 years, we've had killings and kidnappings. We had our positions revealed. Who in the hell is doing it? But you don't say nothing. You just keep adding more and more Toubab to the organization. Finally, some brothers tired of it. They saw the same thing. Now they exposed it on Facebook. See, they exposed it. And this brother's supposed to be a strong, devout Muslim. Now he's been exposed. We're trying to figure out, why are you allowing him? Because the organization has suffered a lot. They've been killing our leaders. Someone gets promoted, and suddenly he's kidnapped and killed. Come on now, brothers. Please now. Please. Come on, use your common sense. And our brother here, you're right. That's why these devils are against you, may protect you and reward. Thank you very much, my dear brothers. Amen. Amen about that, because they are on this continent. They've been able to kill when they want to kill, and they want to, anything they want to do, they'll be able to do. They've killed on this continent for a long time, and no one seems to want to stop them. We started to see things. The Islamic empires were powerful. The Toubab, they could not attack them at the time until they weakened. When the brothers began to fight and kill one another, like you heard me talk about, our Fulani brothers, the Hapular, and then we had the Messina. They fought it and duked it out, and over 2 weeks, and over 30,000. Now they were weak. The French marched in and started kicking butt because now there was nothing left to fight. They only had a few soldiers left for the Hapular, and they only had and Messina was destroyed. The French just came in through Senegal and started to move up northwest. I mean, more northeast, and disbanded us. See, now let's get into this. What happened in ancient Kept? If you guys start to really do your research, King Cam does a lot of research on this. Really start hitting the books, start learning Metaneher. It's an African dialect. It's the one of the first of the languages spoken. Our brothers spoke the language. You start reading about the fallacies that happened. By the fourth dynasty, anyone understands the ancient Egypt, I will say it again, but I'm going to use Kemp because that's the name our brothers and sisters call it. Egypt is what the Toubab has called it. The Europeans start to come in. If you read what they had said when the first Greeks came, they saw them in skins. Some had reddish, brownish beards, brown beards, and so forth and so on. But they looked very rugged. They came in animal skins, not the movies, because the movies, they picked the most beautiful girls and men and have them act, and they showed the Egyptians as primitive and stupid, ignorant, and them as prominent. It was the exact opposite. When they came, they were primitive, and they drew them up and told what they were. They began to allow them because why? Black people, something Subhanahu wa Ta'ala put it, we're so loving. We're the most loving people on this earth. You know that we're the most loving people on this earth, and it's hurt us on this continent tremendously. 5,000 years of this. And the beginning started in Kempt when they began to allow them to come in. By the 10th dynasty, they were taking over many spots of Kempt. Look at the history. We fought them. For 5 dynasties, we fought them to drive them out because we let them come in. By the 15th or so dynasty, we had kind of took back the reins. But another wave of Toubab from the north came into the country, and they infiltrated the eastern part of Kempt. They begin to build their societies. Black people we always done the same things. When we saw the trouble, we start moving back into what you call in times Nubia. But we know them as Taseti, we know them as Kasha, and also we know them as Ta Naheshi. Those are the names for Kush. This is what our brothers called it. And see, they didn't call it Kush. They called it Taseti, again, Kasha, and Ta Naheshi. See, this kind of time, but this is the language that our brothers spoke. This is what they call the region. So they start to move south, and they move back up, conquer again. But we gave citizenship at the later stages to these Toubab, and they began insurrections after insurrections. From about the 15th dynasty to the 26th dynasty, we have been in and out with wars with them. They get power, they come and invade, we fight them, destroying the country little by little. Then they start to gather. They went to present-day Libya, and you read the history, and they got gathered there to make their push now to take over all of Kempt. When they finally removed the upper, meaning the northern part of Kempt, because it's Egypt, then the brothers began to go south to regroup. This is where my ancestors got in. By the 24th, 25th, and 26th dynasties, you have Pianki, you had Shabaka, my great ancestor, okay, and then you had Tahaka. They were all embroiled, especially Pianki with the Europeans, the Toubab. He was fighting to drive them out. He stopped them, and then he went out. My ancestor, Shabaka, came in, and he then settled the story. Everything was settled up. he started to rule again. He took over the north and he took over the south. But by the time, again, my ancestor, my father, my ancient father, his group became weak. Taharqa came in. Taharqa started fighting, having to fight them. By the 26th dynasty, Egypt, Kempt, as we know it, as a black, the first powerful, is gone. Do your research. 26th dynasty, the Toubab now effectively have wiped out the black civilization. Yes, we were allowed to stay there. The 27th dynasty, Herodias came. Herodias wrote that the ancient Egyptians were still black. By the 27th dynasty, he was there. There was as we understand, the kingdoms were finished. Now they still call them kingdoms, but if you look at the history, it's not right. Because now the kingdoms and the pharaohs were Toubab. Okay? When Herodotus started to write his book, he talked about the ancient Kemetic people as being black with kinky hair. This is even by the 27th dynasty when he was there, they were still black with prominent African features. And he described the people back in Tasseti, again, as you call Nubia, as jet black, darker than many of the Egyptians, okay, the Kemetic people, and so forth and so on. See, we have that. So he coined the term Ethiopia, right? Meaning burnt by the skin. This is how this term, how Ethiopia is not the name of our ancestors gave it. This is the name that he wrote, talking about black skin, people burnt by the sun. See, so what we know there, the region of Habasha is today, is Ethiopia, as you know it today. Habasha is also, they call that Kasha. You have to do your research on this. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. So now we get back. Now we're going to move fast forward. Let me go back to this. The 27th dynasty, there was no more black civilization. It was finished, brothers and sisters. Gone. The Toubab now was running Egypt. The Romans, the Greeks, the Persians, and so forth and so on were running Kempt. 28th dynasty, the 29th dynasty, they were still in power. The 30th dynasty, and I'm trying to remember now, King Kem, he may have his notes there. I can't remember. I think it was 30 or 31 dynasties, and it was finished. By 330 AD, the Roman Church, they denied this, but it's been shown and proven. They ordered the murder of the rest of the black Kemetic scribes and scholars and burn up the suppositories. Because by this time now, they understood that the Bible that you read, as you Christians read, was actually came from the book forthcoming by day and night, as you know it as the Book of the Dead. They realized that the two were too common. In order to keep that Bible, to make it as though it was the word of Subhanahu to them, they ordered the slaughter of our scholars. The rest of this is about 30 AD. They came in, the Roman army came in and slaughtered most of the black Kemetic people. They were gone. Now, by that time, brothers and sisters, I'll get to you guys in a minute. Hold fast. Our brothers begin to go to West Africa again. They start to go the trek going to North Africa. That's how the Fulani came. That's how, your brothers, the Tuareg and the Amazigh and Al Maghrib, they came out from the Exodus, because when the Toubab took over by the 26th dynasty, it was a mass exodus of black folk. Tuareg, Amazigh. The Amazigh at the time was called, they were no Tuareg and Amazigh. They were called Mozab. I have that ancestry as well. Look at their DNA. We have EM series. If you look at the original people, all the people who in West Africa, from Nigeria all the way to Senegal, you take the DNA, you see what? EM series. Where is the EM series? Look at the royal mummies and the ancient Egyptians we're not talking about the Toubab, the real ancient Egyptians, the royal mummies and so forth. What is their genotype? EM. because we are the ancient Egyptians. When they took the West Africans into the Americas, the Fulani, the Hausa, the Tib, the Yoruba, the Mende, Mendika, Wolof, Jolof, they were Siri, they were taken. There were Bambara. There were all of these groups were taken into many Muchamba, Capelli, you name all these ethnic groups. They were taken to the United States, and the blood was mixed. But if you look at our mother's side, our mother still kept the EM series. Yes. And the Fulani mothers had the L series, L1, L1, LO, like my mom. See, because the Fulani, that's, I already talked about the history. I won't get more into that. I already talked about that history. But I'm giving you this to show you things, what has happened. Because of our benevolence, I can't remember the dynasty. I have all my notes. I didn't put it in here today because they had destroyed my program. And I had to, that's why I was real late. The Pharaoh, the Phari, as that we call this Meneher, but you call him Pharaoh, allowed the Toubab invaders to have citizenship. Now, have we heard that before? Huh, brothers and sisters? Huh? Have we heard that before? Who's allowed to get citizenship here very easily in Africa today? You? Me? No, the Toubab. The Toubab was given way back, approximately now 3,500 years ago, they were given citizenship. And when they did that, it was over for Kempt. If you read some of the documents that was written, now they're surfaced because they found them, the kings talked about these invaders. I have a book here, and I was talking about King Cam. I told King Cam about it. You got to get this book. I've showed this many times before, brothers and sisters. You must get this book here. Please get this book. If you are a black man and black woman, or even a Toubab, this makes no difference, and you are on the truth, please, brothers and sisters, get this book. Okay, please. I know it's very expensive today. I think it's $19. I'm not sure. But this African brother's passed on now. I met him in 2000 after he finished the book. He and I discussed the book. He told me what happened with him. He got fired from university because of this book. He exposed many things. And you got to get that book, brothers and sisters. Please get that book and get your history right about ancient Egypt and so forth and so on. And you who are Christians, you guys get that book because you will learn about the fallacies of the quote unquote Bible. See, that's why the Romans ordered the killing of the rest of the black Kemetic people. He wanted to silence that because now they had the Bible. Now they have been in and they took control of the suppositories. When Herodias and other scribes, got the documents and had the documents translated from Meheneher to Latin and Greek, right? They start to see the Bible and the book of forthcoming by day and night, which is the Bible for Kempt, too many seminaries. They were copied, the Bible had copied from this. They said, no, we can't have that. We can't have that. So they went in and killed all the scribes. They killed them all. But our brothers, before they died, they buried them underground in other hidden suppositories that nobody knew except them. And then it took, a long time. Finally, we start to find these documents. That's how we start to come up with the Book of the Dead and all the other stuff, which we call the book forthcoming by day and night. There's a name for it mentioned there, but I won't get into that. So this is some of the things, brothers and sisters, that we have to know, and we have to talk the truth. For those coming in late, thank you for joining. Let me see here. We got a couple more comments here. Now, let me preface this, brothers and sisters, please. Those who you don't comment if it's going to get you in trouble. I'm not asking anybody to make any comments or anything like that. You want to just observe. It's no problem. I'm not going to force anybody to make comments or anything like this. This is my observations. I'm talking about this. So don't put yourself in any peril that is necessary, okay? Don't do that. Observe, pass the tape on, look at it at your leisure. Our brother said here, wait a minute, dear brother. Wait a minute, dear brother. Did you give me your salam here? Oh, wait a minute. Let me go back up here. Okay, let me see what we got up here. Okay, no. Okay, my dear brother, I know you've been here many times now. Come on now. You better give us your salam here. Come on, dear brother. Now, I know you don't, you've been here many times. Please give your salam, okay? All right. And our brother said, if Rose was eyewitness saying that people were black, that is enough. Yes, it is. But you notice the historians, European Americans, they don't talk about him. They'll talk about his other works, but they won't talk about his works of Kempt. It's funny, isn't it? Because they can't get around the point that he's eyewitness account. Others tried to say that yes, he was there, but he was deranged, or he was high on drugs, or he didn't know what the hell he was talking about. He actually saw, Toubab people who were in the sun and became little tan, and he called them black. They gave all excuses. See, and it's wrong. And our brother says, does the kingdom of count as count? Now, I don't know where you're talking about. Please, I don't know what this word is. Please elaborate, my dear brother, because I'm not sure. Maybe Kim Cam may know something about this, because I'm not, that name, I don't know. 33 Dynasty. Well, thank you, Mary, in the total. Yes. The last, yes, but but you go back into this and you look at it, it's around about the 26th dynasty, the Persians, the Syrians, and they were whitish, okay, begin to come. And then after that, the 27th dynasty, there's no more a black pharaoh, so to speak, anymore. So the trouble began to 26 after Taharka. Look it up. After Taharka, then the Assyrians begin to run it. And then the Romans, and they start to have their little battles in there. So from the 26th dynasty to the 33rd dynasty, our folks were gone out of it, because Herodias wrote in the 27th dynasty that the Greeks and Romans was controlling it. And now they were deciphering the books because they could not decipher the books that were written in Mebneher. This is where Manitou and all these people, remember him, they got involved in this to translate the documents for the Greeks. And man, when they did that, the Greeks start to see stuff that they believed about Christianity. They thought that it was that they were the chosen people. They thought that the people were like them. And when they read when they got a hold of the forthcoming by day and night, and they started looking at all of these documents, they found out now that the word of God was actually given to our black brothers. It wasn't given to them. They couldn't stand that. So by now, at the end of the last dynasty, 330, I think, AD, the Romans ordered the execution of the remaining black Kemetic people and the remaining scribes. Our brothers fled. By the 26th dynasty, black Africans, West Africans we know today, made their trek across because the Sahara was now lush. The Fulani, the Amazigh, the Tuareg, all of them, they were known in those days as Mozab. The Fulani people were not Fulani. They were known as two names. They were known as the Sao people and they known the Ka people. You guys look it up, do your research. We still keep the name Sao. We still keep the name, we keep the names Ka, Kara, Sao. We also have the name Bahri. All those people like this, they were clans. Fulani. We were not Fulani at the time. They made their cross into North Africa. They weren't in West Africa at that time. That was later. The Fulani people began to go south when they took Islam, they began to go south into West Africa. But they had trading back and forth across the Sahara. We have that. That's why you notice the big three of North Africa, the Tuareg, the Amazigh, and the Fulani. You notice they all wear blue. You saw my pictures many times. You don't know who is Fulani and who's Amazigh, same color. You don't know who. And I fooled people. I said, who do you? Oh, no, she's Tuareg. No, she was Fulani. I showed a Tuareg girl. Ah, she's Tuareg. No, she's Fulani. So we had that. I wanted to show that to make the point about the mixing that went on between the three groups. Okay, we have our brother saying here, the kingdom can be seen as a continuation. Okay, I'm not familiar with this, my brothers and sisters. Thank you, King Kim. I'm going to research on that because I'm not sure of that name. Because I saw the name and it just, I've drawn a blank. Please, dear brother, please fill me in on that, okay? Because I'm not familiar with that. Brother, yes, the Romans and Greeks had the foothold before the Muslims. Yes, they did. Thank you, brother. That's true. They did. They had that. See? And then our brother says, I am L3. Uh-huh, yes. That's a Fulani. That's Fulani. The Fulani gene special our mothers carry, the L3, yes. See, my mom was LO1. See, so we have that. And okay, our brother here says here that yes, the only check mummies, yes, yes, and yes, yes, and what they did, the historians and geneticists, they were slick. They went and stayed to the north in Egypt, right, and took the remains of Romans who were killed, Roman soldiers, Roman generals, and those who took over, and they did their DNA. They came up with R series and other, and then they said this is the nation, but they stayed away from the South. Funny, isn't it? They stayed away from the South, and that's why you see all this literature and why you see all the white Egyptians and all the Europeans and many racist Arabs. They're upset about this issue about the talking about how you gonna talk about as black. We got the proof here, but then when we showed them the royal mummies showed EM. So how we have the big discrepancy, and then how is it that the royal mummies to the south have you discovered? Okay, is what EM series, and then you go test West Africans like on my grandmother and so forth and so on her side, which is Yoruba and Igbo. She had EM series. Come on, brothers, huh? African heritage or ancient Kemetic heritage is the EM series and the LO series for the Fulani. See, so this all this, brothers and sisters, is very, very interesting. Oh, wait a minute, our brother is what happened here? Okay, yeah, here we go. Yes, only check rooms. Okay, he said that, and our brother said he was L3, and what we got here, our brother says Kingdoms. Oh, really? I got to look up that name because thank you very much for that information because I got to look at because I'll find the other name for this because that name is not even Arabic and it's not it's got to be so I'll thanks for that information. I'll start to look it up because there's another name I know that's probably why this name here I'm not familiar with it, but thanks for letting me know. And here is southern Egypt. But what language is this? Some please let me my Korea. What language is that? Because it's not Mehneher, and then also there's a dialect of Mehneher too. They call it I forgot now, P1. I forgot now what it is, but anyway, uh, I'll do my research on that, and I'm gonna try to find that name. Scribes are still there. Took the knowledge south and west. Yes, we had knowledge. Yes, and they did. We had some escape, and they did come. That's what I said. The mass exodus a lot because why we had mystery schools. We continued our mystery schools all the way into the colonial period. Then they disbanded the mystery schools. How did the mystery schools continue? Because they had to have the knowledge from Kempt, and it was passed down and passed down for generations after that. So we continued our schools, and we continued using Meher in our languages. Even though we moved away now thousands of years, we still kept names and names in our languages that we inherited when we were there in Kent. See, so we had that in the Copts. They were Coptic. They Copt. Okay, yeah, okay, they were Coptic, but I'm still trying to figure what name because what language that was. Because because that name really escapes me. I'm going to really look up the Treaty of Mercure as one of the parties of that treaty. Who was he, or who was this Mercuria? Who was this person? Because uh, I, I, I'll thank you very much, my dear brother. I'm gonna look it up, do some more research on this. I'm gonna go to the Arabic documents and see what was said about this because I'm gonna get another name. The name I may be more familiar with than this name here. Okay. Now we're gonna be concluding here pretty soon here, brothers and sisters. 330 Kempt gone, finished forever now. The Europeans were in control. The black Africans were still there, but now the problem that we see today surfaced because as all of the mixing began to go on, the Europeans began to take a foothold and they began to mix heavily with the woman who was there. The women by the 300s, a lot were mixed because most of the blacks left. They went further south and they went to the west. So men are men. I don't care. Has nothing to do with race. You know that. When men go somewhere to conquer, I don't care if the woman's white, black, whatever. As we understand the Andalus, they start to mate the women. That's a prize. That is something that's in, that's in the war book. Because you go there and you laminate the women. That's part of what's happened in wartime. You know that. Uh, so 300, they're gone. Now the ancient Egyptians, ancient Kemetic people are now the West Africans. The arrival of Islam. Islam took place and the revival again began to happen. As from Jazira Arab going back into the continent, the Romans were in foothold of ancient Kempt, right? We know that. The Muslims began to make their way into North Africa, into the Sahara. They encountered the Fulani. By the late 600s, the Fulani were now converted to Islam. The Fulani now who are in the north, in Morocco, as we understand today, a lot of people don't want to admit that. That's why Moroccans have Fulani heritage. See, they were there. And the black people were always there in Morocco. Now they took Islam and began to spread it into the coastal regions, all the way across, until we understand, into Senegal, going across. And our House of Brothers, right after us, they took the religion as well. We had that. But here's what the point I'm trying to make, brothers and sisters. The 711, when they went into Andalus, we had white converts who were part of that invasion. I don't know if you guys know about that, but it's true. They were part of that invasion. They were now converts, and they fought against the Visigoths and Andalus in 711 to help take it. They did that. They were there with us. And you know the rule about the Muslim. If a man gives his shahadatain, he's a Muslim. He's not white, black. He's your brother. They fought with their black brothers in Andalus. No doubt about that. We have to tell it as it is. As it is. It's true. And the black power structure, as we understood it, lasted from 711 into the 1400s, right? In Andalus. Now, the black organizations, black sultanates of Morocco, and so forth and so on, we were still running our shows. The Europeans were in the Dark Ages. The Europeans came out of the Dark Ages. They began to go to our universities. They sent their best people here to get out of the Dark Ages, and we enlightened them, and they came out of their Dark Ages. The point I'm trying to make is this. When they began to come out of their especially the 1400s now, they ran the Muslims out. They ran the brothers out of Andalus. See? And now they start to set their sets on Africa. The Portuguese began to use ships, and they came to Morocco to take the first slaves. That's to show you again that Morocco was not a white country as we see it today, where you see most Moroccans from the central to the north especially are very pale skin, very, very pale skin, because they have a lot of European mixture, very pale. But in the time, even by the 1400s, when the Portuguese were still coming here, they were taking a hell of a lot of black slaves here. So they just didn't come to Morocco and go get ships and pick out who was white and black. Everybody was black. Even in the 1400s, they were still black here in Morocco. Fulani and so forth. So that's why there's so many Fulani in the Americas. And we had other, Bamara, we had other ethnic groups also in Morocco. We did not allow at this time the Portuguese to infiltrate our lands. But again, the benevolence of Africans, we start to have treaties with them. The Portuguese were smart. They started to see something lucrative. So they took the ships out of treachery and started going to the southern part of Morocco to an area we call Safi, the slang term, Asfi in Arabic language. Asfi, no, Asfi, matter of fact, is Amazigh. And they began to take slaves from there. The Sultan began to fight them. We drove them out. The Portuguese then realized now they had a market. They start taking black slaves into Europe and finally selling them to the Americans. And then you know the whole story. What happened 200 years later, the Americans start to do their thing and bringing Africans into the Americas. But the point of the matter is this. The black sultanates did not allow them to infiltrate. They did not give them the wayward. Here in Morocco, we had a spot. Even if the people, we had Jews here and we had others. If they converted to Islam, we let them go. But they didn't. We kept them in their own little cities and we chained them up, not chained up their walls so they can't leave at night for their own protection. But we did not allow the Toubab to come in and infiltrate all the way up to the high ranks. That came after the colonial period. When the Messina, when we had the great Pulo, we had all the great Fulani sultanates. Even the French came to go after the Pulo. They never allowed them to infiltrate. They fought them and they fought them and fought them. They never gave in to them and let them infiltrate them like they did today. They fought them, drove them out. They came to the Messina because now when they had Mansa Musa with all the gold, the Europeans saw that. They sent spies in, portraying themselves as Muslims so they can come in and watch where they can find the gold mines. And that triggered the mass killings of Africans and then the treachery and so forth and so on. But the Messina fought the bastards. The Songhai fought the bastards. And we did not let them take control. By the 1500s, they were still up to it. We had now invasions from Portugal and the Spanish people we know them today. We fought them. The great battle we call the Three Kings of Morocco, we fought their invasion as they tried to come inward into Africa. We fought them here in Morocco. The great battle called the Three Kings, you look that history up. Very, very interesting. And the sultanates of Morocco were black. Let no one tell you that they were white. Yes, the racists will tell you they showed them as white. They weren't. Because even some of the kings, their mothers' names, even mean black in the Arabic language. So, you know what I mean? They were black. And we know the Sadi people are the same people who came from the south. The sultanates of Al-Maghrib were not northern. They are all southern, just like ancient Kempt Egypt. All the great kings and pharaohs came from the south and moved upwards. The sultanates of Al-Maghrib was the same. They came from the south and moved northwards. They were all black folk from Mauritania and from northwest Mali, as we understand today, and from Senegal. They moved upwards and it became sultanates. You look at that history. They did not allow the infiltration of the Toubab. They had treaties with them, yes, but they never let them walk in like they did today and have come in and sit at the king's court and run things. I'm trying to make my point. Now, I'm asking you, brothers and sisters, you guys tell me what you think. Should they be allowed to join exclusive Fulani organizations like Mayate Allah? Should they be allowed to come into the exclusive Hausa organizations and join it and move and sit at the round table with the brothers? Now you're gonna try to tell me that these Toubab to come here are trying to hook up the brothers? Please, please, please. So I'm asking, don't be intimidated by what I said. If you say yes, they should be allowed to come in and they should, then please give me something to take me from what I believe. And I'm giving you history. It's fast, but you see from 5,000 years. I want to know how is it, how? And not only join, come in and have decision-making powers. Come on now. And who is there going to try to tell me that this Irishman or this Englishman or this Frenchman or this German who they allow to come in he's there to hook up the black brothers? Please, please, please. No, no, no. Have this organization experienced continuous? Yes. This organization has, and others have breaches after breaches. Some of our scholars have been talking against what they see. Many of them can't say what they want to say, but they're talking. See, and I'm not trying to say Mayetl is no good. I'm not trying to say that. But there's others organizations too that there's been infiltration. And what I'm trying to say is this: you have too many coincidences. Even in Al Maghreb, in Algeria, and other places, they've allowed the Toubab to come in, even from the embassies, and they allowed them to come in and they destroy their organizations because they're spies. And I always ask the question as a black man, as my father used to tell me when I was a child, when he said, these guys over here, when they break away, you listen to them because they tell you about what these other ones over here are doing against you and their racism. And I'm saying to you, especially in modern times, you're going to tell me that these Toubab that coming from the embassy and other embassies, Western European embassies, that come around me and you, they're trying to hook us up. They're trying to hook up the brothers. No, they're not here to hook up the brothers. See, we in northern Nigeria, we've had this problem. We had kidnappings. We had a lot of things. And now some of the brothers are pissed. They're upset. And they're exposing this fact. They say, we're supposed to be Fulani. We're supposed to be taking care of our brothers. How can we take care of our brothers when we got Toubab standing over us? Come on now. Who in their right mind allowed them to do this? See, so anyway, this is some of the things, and I'm gonna take some of the our brothers what we got to say here, and let's look at what our brothers saying here. Okay, the Jews were killed. No, wait a minute now. That's not true. You got to understand what happened with them. Yes, they when before the invasion came down. Okay, the Visigoths were a they had a mixture of their religion. Okay, and they hated the Orthodox Christians who were Samaritans. Samaritans, you look this up, and they kicked them out. The Samaritans came among the Muslims for protection in North Africa, and they lived under the Muslims. The Jews were persecuted as well. They began to go into North Africa, and that's how they settled. The Christians found haven, and many Christians don't want to admit this, but the Samaritans were Orthodox. They believed that Jesus ﷺ was not God. They believed that he was a prophet. The Visigoths mixed their religion by saying Jesus was that. They were polytheists. So they began to kill and persecute the Samaritans and drove the Samaritans out of Spain into North Africa, into Tunisia, into what is called, we call this at this time, Al Maghreb Aqsa, meaning the greater Al Maghreb, which means to west. They began to live with the Muslims and under the Muslims' protection. That's right. And you look at, we have a lot of documents showing that we had studied, we talked a lot to Samaritans and the Muslims, and many Samaritans did come to Islam. But we let them to stay in their religion. We did not try to take them from their religion. This is part of the history. And the Jews were welcomed as well. They came under protection. The Spaniards, the Visigoths at that time, were not going to come into North Africa and attack all of these brothers because it was black at the time. They were not, and the Muslims were strong. So they were not going to do this. This is before the invasion. Then when the prominent Jewish merchant took his daughter went up to the north and she was ravished, and then the persecution was going on, the Muslim Sultan who's in Tunisia sent an emissary to check it out. He found this to be. Then he sent our brother, Moroccan brother, who was black, okay, Tariq ibn Zayed, rahimahullah. Then he was commissioned to go into Andalus in 711, and he took with him Fulani and Bambara and all the other ethnic groups from the Takrir region into Andalus, and they kicked butt. See, so that's part of that. I've talked about that history many times in my other classes, and our brother here is saying here, but when we come home, they need to welcome us. Yes, but they never have welcomed us. You Christians today, why are the Christian churches segregated still? When brothers go to many of the white churches, they encounter racism. See, so we have to see and look at all of that. And I'm asking you, as a black man, you people, you brothers here, how many of you want to join Irish organizations? How many of you want to join with the French in their organizations? How many of you want to join the Scottish organizations that they have? How many of you want to the white British organizations? How many of you brothers want to join that? And if you did, what do you think they would think of you when you walk in there talking about you want to be among them? They're going to be suspicious of you. They're going to wonder, what are you doing? Why are you here? And rightfully so, because they look at me, they see me black man with this kinky hair and beard and everything, and I walk in talking about I want to be with them. Come on, and rightfully so, they should be suspicious of me because what do I have in common with the British or the French or the Scottish or the Welsh? I have nothing in common with them. See, and our brother here, what he's saying here, the English tour, he had noticed that the Toubab not only wanted to serve the civil rights, but they wanted to run it. Yes, you know, yes, there was incidents like this. We know that. We know what happened with the NAACP, where we had power struggles. I won't even touch them because they are sorrowful. They are nothing anymore. They're a bunch of Negroes parading around as African Americans, and they're still talking with their Negro dialect and their Negro ways of mind and their backwater down the river Negro politics and all that kind of stuff. They're nothing anymore, and they were infiltrated heavily by whites and Jews. And these who are there, it just got so diluted. Their message was gone. So nobody African American trusts anything with the NAACP. What do you hear about them anymore anyway? Now and then you hear a comment, but they have no credibility anymore. They're finished. They're gone. Oh, the Jews were expelled. Yes, they were expelled. They were expelled way before that. And Jews. And here's the funny thing: if you guys understand what has happened, the Jews begin to come back later by the 10th, no, by the 1000s. Many of the Jews returned back and lived with the Visigoths, and they were instrumental in spying on the Muslims in Andalus. Okay, and Granada and Espadia and all those places like this. They came there to spy to help the Spaniards to look into their kingdoms, and they come back with the reports. This is in the 1000s. So they were expelled, but many began to come back. And they begin to live among the Visigoths to the north, and they come back into the kingdom to spy on the Muslims. So we had that. So, brothers and sisters, I talked heavy and hard today about these things. And this is my conjecture. Now, I'm going to get accused, of course, because anytime I don't, or anybody like me, don't give remembrance or bayah pledges or Negro yes boss type of collard greens and chitlin talking to the white man and putting head down, then all of a sudden this is a terrorism or this is a criminal activity or someone is doing something against them. We're talking about a history, and we're talking about rightful history, and so forth and so on. And I explained what was right and what has been wrong. And I'm telling you now, the brothers who were sitting in the Fulani organization when they saw this malfeasance, this travesty, they asked the question, "Hey, I can't take this no more," and they begin to expose it. When you sit there and try to figure out, all of a sudden you had a tight knit organization, everything was going good. Suddenly, we start seeing these leaders' positions declared they were kidnapped. We start finding the police coming to take Fulani organization members who were sitting at home eating, or maybe some people went to their house and called it terrorism and came and got them. Who's giving them the information? Who was giving them information? Now the brothers talking because they begin to make the correlation. Not only some of the Toubab, they were moved up and they were given positions to where they had information. They're not Fulani. They don't live among the Fulani. They're not even herdsmen. They don't even speak for 40. Maybe some do because they were trained in the the language schools on the eastern coast of the United States where they teach you all the languages. Maybe they came into Nigeria speaking maybe for 40 dialect and they fool just like they do here. They come in, they speak the local Arabic and try to portray themselves as Moroccans. So maybe that's what they did to infiltrate there. They learned for full day and then they let them come in. But the brothers had enough. They start to make the correlation. They start to see all this treachery. They said, where is this treachery coming from? Since the brothers, they had their own clans. These Toubab don't belong to any of these clans. And their people were being arrested, killed, kidnapped, and so forth and so on. It's tight-knit, the Fulani. So who was giving information on their uncle, on their fathers, and their brothers? Not them. Who was not connected to the clans? The Toubab. So they begin to make the correlation. And they start to find out some of the Toubab had access to information because they were getting it from prominent people. And suddenly positions were revealed. Sudden documents were revealed. Suddenly they started to have terrorism charges put on them. See? So that's why I'm talking, because this has been 5,000 years of this treachery here on the continent. We ain't talking about the United States. That's a different animal altogether. As you heard me talk about, it's a different animal altogether. It's nothing to do with Africa. This is now a split because we always had prominent white folk. And even today, we have Jewish firms, law firms are taking the cases of African Americans who were put in prison. Isn't that right, brothers? You can't deny that. How about all of these societies they have now? How many? I heard now it's over 1,000 African Americans have been freed from prison because of whites and Jews and their law offices doing a pro bono work, going and helping African Americans who've been wrongly in jail. We've always had benevolent white folks helping us, always in America, always. The civil rights, all the way from slavery time, we always had whites help us to escape slavery. We always had them in our organizations. We always had that. We don't have that benevolence here on the continent. We don't have that. We have a different sort of white man, Toubab, to come here. See, so he infiltrated so he can take the gold. He infiltrated so he can take the diamonds. He infiltrated to destroy the Islamic organizations and Islamic sultanates. It's different. Big difference. Big difference. And our brother here says here, don't forget to, thank you very much. Subscribe. Maybe, I was talking to my dear brother about this. Maybe some of this may be too rich for people, but I'm going to look at it this way. I'm not going to sit here, especially when I'm knee deep in it. I know what this is because I'm right here with it. I got them coming after me, right? And they're doing all this stuff. That's why I'm hoping my brothers who are sitting in the national office, whatever, look at this and put a stop to this crap. Because it's not right. I'm not going to leave my religion like they try to bring Moroccan criminals to me to force me out from Islam. Or don't go to the masjid, you're going to get arrested. I want them to take action on these guys. I know you to Toubab, you cannot. But I told them many times, these bad policemen who are taking money from Americans who they use their power. And I look at them and say, look, man, you gave up your power when you come over to me telling me that you're going to take me because I'm going to the masjid, or you're going to take me because the Toubab told you we don't want black people inside the masjid. See, no, I'm not going to put up with that. See, I'm not going to put up with that. And then when you're going to organize to bring people to kidnap me, this is a serious matter. See, it's a serious matter. Because they're not kidnapping me so they can sit me down somewhere and give me a plate of victuals. The Toubab has got something he wants to do. And that's why I want to make sure that I tape the motherfuckers. Excuse my, I know I'm going to get flagged for that. But tape the bastards. Excuse my French. I had to say it like that. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say it like that. But to tape the bastards. So that way I'll have the evidence. So when I have to fight and defend myself, no one can come at me and say, well, man, I don't know why you fought these guys. Here I'm a man 70 years old. I'm walking home and some punks are in a car. Nobody comes to fetch a prayer out here in the morning and say in a car on the street. Nobody, especially in the wintertime, it's too cold. And the summertime here is very hot. You got to have the windows down. You got to run the air conditioner because the day and night is hot here, very hot. See, and you're walking and all of a sudden here's a car right here and you want to know why these guys here. And then when they come to you, they start using bad words in Arabic language. And there's a way we call it, I call it fusha, we call it kalam fasha. This is what they're, to me. See, and I don't even know who these young men are. Yeah, it's wild. Yes, it is. It's bad. That's why I'm hoping they put an end to this stuff. See, and I had like where I live, there's, yes, I have to. But as Muslims, we understand something because this is like a jihad. This is, what I'm involved in is like that. Because here you have a enemy, a bitter enemy to Allah, who's trying to tell me to take me from my religion. He's trying to tell me I can't worship in the masjid. This is a Muslim country. We have a Muslim ruler. They're trying to tell me I'm not supposed to worship in the masjid. They're telling me I'm not supposed to worship Allah. They got the gall to do this. See, and so why are they in the masjid? And they drove all our brothers out. And they put criminals in there. And when you go in there, you watch them. I had a big argument here 2 days ago because they brought this guy in here. He didn't know what the heck he was doing. And many of them don't know because they don't study the Quran. They don't study the Sunnah. The Prophet, they don't know. So when they come into the masjid, because they're there, not because they're near to pray, because they're paid to do it. And they're after me to drive me out of the masjid. So when I'm in prayer here, you see this type of stuff coming, hitting me in the ribs. Or I go down to make prostration. He puts his elbow here at my head and I flick it off. And then he starts talking about, I don't understand why you push my arm. Nobody stands there. That's not the way we pray in Islam. You don't put your elbow on the person's head. You don't put your elbow on a person's ribs. You don't do that. He did this the last couple of days ago. So I even with that, I had to have patience because sabr. I had to have that. I start talking to him. I talked to him. I said, "What are you doing, man? What kind of prayer is this?" So anyway, because he has backup there, none of my brothers are there to assist me. Only we call these people Khawarij because they fight Muslims. They leave the disbelievers alone, but they fight the Muslims. So they start to gather around. So I start talking. And one young man who understands Fusha very well, he started to explain because a lot of them don't understand Fusha because they're not educated. So he started explaining when I was telling him, he started to translate from Fusha because I speak classical. So he started to tell them, this is what he said. He said, brother, why were you hitting him? And finally, he apologized to me. He shook my hand. He said, I'm sorry for what I did. So he did apologize, and you have to accept it as a Muslim. But the other ones, they were there for that. This is what I'm talking about, brothers and sisters. This type of thing should not be allowed to go on. It's too much. 5,000 years of this. When they ran our brothers out of Kempt, they had to go to West Africa. That's how we got the West Africans today. All of this stuff like this, brothers and sisters, we've had this. How many leaders we've had killed? It goes on and on and on. Oh, yes, they may mention many times, especially 2018. There's some things you do not even know what I did. Now I'm not talking things bad. 2018, because what they were doing, I even asked for asylum because what they were doing. And then I found out the organization who was running it for here is a Toubab from America. So you imagine what he said. And this is what he said. He told the Moroccans there was no slavery. If I could have got him at the time, I don't know what I'd have done. I think about my ancestry. He tried to explain. He said he's talking about slavery. There was you black people. He said you black people came over as indentured servants. You came over on your free will because you had nothing to eat inside Africa. You wanted something better, so you came to the Americas. He denied slavery even existed. And he was allowed to be head of the organization here for asylum. So, but the Moroccans knew that was a lie. We have enough educate. They know that it was slavery. They didn't listen to the white boy. See, because he tried to say there was no slavery. He said it was, he said, no, he said, what he's saying here is not right. There was no part of that. His family would never hurt. He doesn't know what happened in 2018 when my uncle on my father's side was gunned down by the Toubab because he was in town. He was educated. He was nice looking. Even some of the white girls at that time liked him. The black girls liked him, and they gunned him down. He didn't talk about the Toubab bastards who ran my grandmother and my grandfather off their farms and sent them to the north. They didn't talk about that either. He said that was a lie. He didn't talk about my father, what happened to him when the Toubab, what they did to him. They didn't talk about that. He said it was a lie. I don't know what I would have done if I would have saw him. He told me in my face that my uncle who was killed, murdered, is a lie. Or that my grandmother and grandfather, what happened to them and their farms taken, that was a lie. I don't know why I would have done with that Toubab. But I'm talking hard today and telling the truth because somebody's got to do it. And I'm a Muslim. See? And I don't like this. And I hate it when I see my own brothers, Moroccan brothers, because I have Moroccan heritage. I have Amazigh, a lot of Amazigh blood. I see them coming in behalf of them. We have a term for this in the Arabic language, Tamiz Ansari, meaning this is racial discrimination. This is what we call that. And they come over to aid them by coming to me to tell me, leave the religion. No, it's not going to happen. Even if they kill me going to the masjid, I'm not relinquishing Islam. I am not going to do it. When they took my grandmother from here, Fatma, from here, okay, she was a Muslimah. They forced her from her religion when they took her to the Americas. Now her grandson is here. And these bastards coming to tell me, one, as you heard me say many times, one came and told me some years back, you have no right being here. You need to go back. Like Africa's not my home. He said, you don't have no right to be here. Now they're telling me I have no right to even worship. I have no right to even be a Muslim. See? So, yes, that's scary. It is crazy. It is. That's why we call them genocidal racists. And I, like I said before, we have rules and games. I'm not here for that. We're Muslims. We cannot ask even to fight. We're not doing that. Cannot. It's wrong under Islamic rules. You can't even ask for the battle. You cannot. But if it's come to you, you have to defend yourself, and I will defend myself. I will defend myself. But I'm pleading for them to stop this type of stuff, because it's wrong. We have stuff going on now. We have a lot of banditry because it's like everywhere now. People don't have money and jobs, so we have people stealing, robbing. Nobody's touching them. They're putting hundreds of people out on the street to go after people who's going to the masjid. This has got to stop. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. My brothers can't even go to the masjid Salat al-Fajr. I only see criminals in there now. My brothers, they can only go in Ramadan. I got to tell the truth. See? Because what is going on inside the masjid here, Aisha, is wrong. It's wrong. And all this bid'ah they put inside the masjid, the innovation, is wrong. This is part of the 5,000 year that they have been here, what they're doing. We have good Muslims who are white. No doubt we have that here on this continent. We have that. We're not talking against them. But these here who are working on behalf of Western governments, their intentions are not good. Those who infiltrate black organizations are not there to hook up the brothers. See? And that's proven because the brothers are being killed off. It's funny, isn't it? So anyway, brothers and sisters, I'm about ready to conclude here. I got to get ready to go pray. So thank you for showing up today, many of you. I'm very angry about this. And I talked about the history because I have a good knowledge of the history. And I talked about it briefly of the history of their infiltration here. And it's starting now to stop. We start to have Africans starting to see the picture and starting to fight. Start to drive them back out. And you heard me say this. There will be a sultan. Bi'ithnillah. Inshallah, bi'ithnillah, he will come and he'll end this crap. because it's wrong. It is wrong. You don't see me or any other black man going after whites. This is what makes us as people good people. We don't go after people because they're white. We don't go after people because they're Japanese. Even on this continent, even over there in the United States, we're very loving and universal. We don't. But the ones who go against us, we fight. But the Toubab switches this. The minute we fight him, because he's a racist bastard, we fight him. And then he says we hate all the whites. It's not true. We fight those who fight us. See? Those who joined the organizations back in slavery time, we didn't fight them. They came to join us. They died with us. Those who in Islamic organizations, they are good people. They're good Muslims. They're our brothers. But these here from the embassy are not our brothers. And they're not here to hook up the Muslims. They're not here to hook up the brothers. They're not here to hook up the Amazigh. They're not here to hook up the Arabs. This is the exact opposite of that. See? And I don't like it when they send a Moroccan who's my color or lighter than me to tell me to leave the religion. And that same, and I, you know what, and I'm gonna leave here. I always tell them, I say, you know what, you over here talking to me, and this is Tamiz Ansari. They know what I'm talking in Arabic. This is racist, bad racism. I said, you go to that man, that Toubab that you taking his orders, you go over and try to marry his daughter and see what he call you. See what he says to you. Huh? He's going to use a vernacular that you don't know in the English language to call you. You over here fighting your black brother, your Muslim brother for him, he's going to call you a name if you think he doesn't even want to sit down with you to eat lunch. He would never invite you to your home. And you here to fight me on his behalf because he gave you 25 dirhams? And I've had this happen. I've had a number of videos of all kinds of stuff. They go in and try to take things, but I send things, I won't get into that, to make sure I have some evidence, because they go in and just like today, they sabotaged everything. They take these things out because they don't want to, be exposed. And as far as they're concerned, it's like one of them said before. He said, we don't want these NIEGGRs here in Morocco, he said. But he didn't tell me directly that. But he told his Moroccan flunky to come to me to tell me that. We don't want the NIGGER here. See? And they're here, and many of them in Islamic organizations here, he's saying these kind of words. Man, oh man. Yeah, boy, I tell you, only criminals, they're criminals and they're not brothers. That's right. Yes, thank you, my dear brother. Thank you very much for that. And I seen something here. Brother was talking about the veiled ones will prevail. Yes, the veiled ones will come back. This Sultan Bi'ithnillah, he will come and he will be veiled. Wuladiyun is what they call this in the Arabic language. This is when the Arabs came to the region of Takrur. Around that region, he found the brothers, and he had a name for them because he saw them. They had the turbans, big turbans, some had small, but they were face veiled on just about all the time. So they coined the term Muladiyun. This is what they call the people, the veiled ones. That's what they call the brothers from Bilad es Sudan. It's a proud designation. This is what the Arabs called us when they came here and saw us. They saw how strong we were in Islam. They saw how we were pious, and the Fafode Simtende. Remember the Pulaco. Remember this word? The first one is what? Bashfulness. We had that. See, so they used this term Muladiyun. Very, very interesting to describe us. And our brother said to won't have yes, yet they just not, and they won't. And like I said, only thing we can do is do what I'm doing, is reporting them, hoping somebody take action, because I'm not here to take action on them. I cannot. I'm not a policeman. See, but I should have the right to go to the masjid, see, and go make my prayer to Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, because I'm a Muslim. We have King Morocco is a Muslim. He's opened the masjids for us to go pray. I had my great great grandmother's citizenship here in Morocco. I'm her grandson. I'm a Muslim too. I should be able to go to the masjid here by my house without the Toubab bringing people to fight me or bring Toubab to put people in cars. See, and this type of thing like this, so, I have to talk it as it is because I'm not going to relinquish my religion. I will not. And I'm going to make prayers. They said I'm not supposed to make prayers there. And so what they do, so they can't stop you on the outside. So inside the prayer, that's why they should be watching the side. They have cameras in there. And what makes this bad, brothers and sisters, many policemen in the front rows, they know what's going on, but they're there because they've been paid to protect the Toubab. That's why when the Toubab does his thing, he does his cowardly stuff because he has many policemen around him to protect him. How can that be? These brothers are supposed to be Muslims. They're supposed to be enforcing the law. When a criminal comes in, and here's an old man, right? Okay, I'm an older man. I'm here to make prayer, and I'm making my prayer. I'm not bothering anybody. I'm doing exactly what the Sunnah of the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam has told us to do as far as prayer. I come in, I do make my salutation to Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. I go to the line and make prayer. This is what this guy. This is what they doing inside the masjid. This is what they do. Especially when I go down in the sajda prostration, he's got his elbow here rested on my ima, and I knock it off, and I go back down in a second. He puts it in my ribs, or he puts it on, and he's forcing. These are criminals. These people here are Ridda and Deen. Nobody does things like no Muslim does that to another Muslim because you have Subhanahu wa Ta'ala there. We're praying, and they're doing this. And the Toubab, you always see him because he's there. He's hired these people, and you watch him because after prayer, he turns and looks to see his people what they had done because he's paid them to do this. I'm an old man, old Muslim. I want to make my prayer. I'm under the protection of the king. I'm here. He's got the masjid open for us to pray. And the Toubab is not there to facilitate that. This is what has happened in ancient Kempt Egypt the same way. When the brothers had all of their knowledge, they killed them and they took it from them. They had their religion, they took it from them. Now they're trying to take Islam from us as well, which is not going to happen. So when you go to the masjid, especially the older men like us, they beat us. This has got to stop. This has got to stop. And BF I will go to Fajr prayer tomorrow morning. They're out there, I have no other choice. I'm going to make my prayer. They hit me inside the masjid here. I'm going to move. I'm a restraint. I'm to be, according to the Sunnah. I'm going to move his hand off. But if he slugged me, I don't know what I'm going to do. Because I'm in a vulnerable position. And he bring young punks, but I'm not scared of them, and I won't get into some of the things. I can defend myself, but I'm not there to defend myself inside the masjid. That's why I have to have restraint. They know that. That's why they do it inside the masjid because they want me to do that inside the masjid by fighting them. I won't do it. I brush off their hand, and I talk to them and ask them, "Why are you doing this? You don't have no shame." Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is watching us. We have Malaika, the angels. We believe these things. If you don't believe in the angels, you're not a Muslim. So I'm there making my prayer, and this guy here is trying to take me from my prayer. And I don't know how many of you, if you're down in prostration, will have somebody's elbow on your neck or your back of your head on your turban. I don't know who would put up with that. See, and the Toubab is right there in the lines. Any one of the policemen, they know what's going on, but they don't because they're protecting them because they've been paid. They know what's happening. Somebody up, they have video up there watching. They see what's going on. They know what's happening. They know what they're doing. See, but I'm polite. Now I go outside the masjid. I'm not going to, if they put their hand on me, you think I'm going to sit there and be polite? No, I'm going to fight them because now I'm right. But inside the masjid, this is still Subhanahu wa Ta'ala's house. We have to have restraint. And I've been doing that. I push off the hand. The second rakat, I push off the hand. They go to the elbow, I move the hand off their elbow off my ribs. Or sometimes they'll use their feet to kick me. I mean, it's incredible. Incredible. So I'm talking hard about this, and I'm going to say yes, yes, brother, yes. And this, this is, something. What are they afraid of? What they're afraid of is just like inside the United States. They do not like to see educated men. When Malcolm X, Al-Hajj Malcolm, when he came to Africa, they made a point. They have an unofficial rule about the Malcolm X factor. Influential, highly intelligent black folk who have influences, they don't want them here on this continent because they want the black folk and the Amazigh, Tuareg, whatever, to be sleepy. They don't want to be woken. So when they see people like me or whatever come into the continent, they try to go to drive us out. So what they do is they charge us with crimes inside the United States. As you know how the justice system is there. They say that they can indict a fly. A fly goes on a wall, they can panel panel citizens to indict a fly who's on a wall, doing nothing, but they can indict him. And then they create mischief and lies around you. But the greatest of the crimes, when you as a Muslim, they try to bring you from your religion, and they use Moroccan criminals and policemen to do this. That's why when they come with that, I say, look, I'm not going to let you arrest me. I'm walking to the masjid. I'm going to make my prayer inside there. When they tell me to get out, I don't listen to them. I laugh at them and walk to the line. And I make whatever I have after my prayer. They're Muslims understand. I do certain things after prayer. After I'm finished, I walk home. If they come after me, now that's different. The restraints are, the gloves are off, so to speak. I'm going to defend myself. And I've told them many times, I'm not going to take their arrest. And what they're going to arrest me for? Being black? Being a Muslim? Arrest me for what? What lie they're going to use? See? So this is why this type of thing here, they don't want to see here. They're losing Africa, but they want the foothold here. They want to keep it because this is their backyard. Because there's only 4 plane, 4 hours, and you there in Washington, D.C. See, from here. So they want to make restraint here to keep things down here. They don't want to see you black folks here. They don't. It's not the Moroccans per se. The Moroccans who help them, they take money, but in their livelihood, they're not racist people. You understand? But they take money because here we have no investments, so to speak, and they don't have jobs. So when the Toubab comes and gives them money, we have many debates with the ulama. Our brothers discuss this issue many times. And it's half of the scholars say one thing, other half say another thing about a man who takes the money because his money that he receives from the Toubab is no good. There's no reward in it. When you buy food, there's no barakah, we call this. There's none. And when he comes after you inside the masjid, particularly, his slot is no good. And, this is bordering on disbelief. We have a term for it called kufr iradi. It's this type of term. You listen to the kufar, he tell you what to do, and you go do it. You know it's disbelief, but you do it anyway. We call it kufr iradi. And there's also shirk al-ta', okay, making abeyance upon the lies, the lie of a Toubab, and you show your love towards him and devotion towards him, and you just don't care. He orders you to do something, you do it. We have terms for this in the Sharia law. See? So this is, again, brothers and sisters, a very, very something. Be careful. Yes, my dear sister, I will. No. They want to do, but see, they know I'm not doing nothing. And they know. And you think about a man 70 years old walking, and he's been approached And you have cars, you have videos of man that's sitting there waiting. Here's Fajr prayer. It's 4:30 in the morning. Who does that? Nobody does that here. This is a Muslim country. Nobody sits in cars and waiting except criminals. Wait for you to come out of the masjid. Or they drive down the street and they start to threaten you. And what's called kalam fasha is in Arabic. They use bad words to you. I ignore them. I ignore them. I just keep walking. If they come out, I fight them. I have the right to defend myself. And I got many charges inside the court over people like this, you know. So I do exactly what it says in Islam. It says when you have something, you take to the police. I do this. I don't take matters in my own hand, but I have the right to defend myself. And I will defend myself. See? And I'm not afraid to talk. That's why I'm talking on my show today about them. I'm not afraid to talk. I got because it's enough is enough. What that guy did to me here 2 days ago in prayer, I'm inside the masjid making prayer. I'm vulnerable. I'm down like this, looking, praying to Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. My face is down. I'm vulnerable for them to come from the back, which has happened to me in the past, where they can hit you in the back of the head. What cowardly bastard does that? Who comes in a place of worship and do things like that? And these Toubab ordered this type of stuff. See? So I'm going to defend myself. And I will defend myself. And I'm hoping that now I always pray to Subhanahu wa Ta'ala that he always give us the relief from this. Because there's a lot of brothers my age, they can't come to the masters anymore because they've been threatened. We've had enough of this. I need to do another study of, Malcolm. I did a program on Malcolm about 2 years, maybe 3 years ago. I gave a story about the hidden things they didn't want to talk about Malcolm inside the United States because of the racism between the African Americans and the Arab Americans. This here, because if you have to understand Al-Hajj, Malcolm, okay, you have to understand him. See, he had a lot of people helping him, and it's not only black folk. And I gave this story because there's now the grandson of one of the brothers, the Afro Arabs, who was so close to Malcolm. He now wrote talking about what his father told him. See, and so that's why the study of Malcolm I hear many times. See, 99.9%. Yes, they got what's going on, what happened in America, but what shaped him? What shaped him? It was when he left out of the United States. It wasn't inside the United States. And who helped him? You had white Arabs and your Afro Arabs assisted him. That's right. You got to do your research on this. I did this thing 2.5, 3 years ago, I think it was, on Malcolm and what happened. See? And they helped facilitate Malcolm to meet many world leaders. They don't talk about this. And as far as our people, because they're racist themselves a lot of times because the Pan-Africans don't want you to know because of their hatred towards white Arabs. I understand that. I lived in America. I've been bitten by the white racist Arab too, like everybody else. But we have to understand the story. We can't sugarcoat or lie about a story that happened to another black man, especially someone as prominent as Al-Hajj of Malcolm. You cannot. And he had many people, and you know one name by the name. You do research, Pasha. You look this guy up. He's white, Turkish. How close he was to Malcolm, rahimahullah. This is what I'm talking about. Not everybody is wrong. We have good white folk, but we have worse ones that's working like this. See, Malcolm understood the difference between the two. He began to understand it because he's living in America. Only thing he was acquainted with was the racist ones, just like I'm here. I only see the bad Toubab because that's what's around me is only the bad Toubab. I don't see the good Toubab. Malcolm saw the bad Toubab inside the United States. But when he came to Africa and Jazeera Arab, he began to see the good, righteous white Toubab. Those who were good people. He started to see the difference. See? And we as black people, because we're universal, you can't see the difference. Here, where I'm at, I only see the worst Toubab. The worst, devilish, with horns, devilish Toubab. That's what I see. I don't get to see the good ones. I only see the worst ones. And yes, they don't. It's really a shame. And again, like I said, uh, you know, uh, it's disheartening because the continent we've had 5,000 years of this type of misconduct. 5,000 years of this type of misconduct, and we should talk about it, even if they can't kill us all. What's this amulet? Who's used amulet? Who's using that? A useless amulet. Who's going to use that, brother? Because that's haram in Islam. I don't know. Please elaborate, because I don't know what you meant by the amulet. Useless. Who uses amulets? I don't know what you're talking about there. I don't. Please define yourself on that. Self-defense is another reason why you don't let like Africans in Muslim community. Uh, yes, we're human beings, and your life has been threatened. You're going to protect yourself, and and you have a right to protect yourself, especially when you're not doing nothing wrong. See, this is the thing, and when you go and you walk to the masjid, what are you doing wrong, huh? And you go inside the masjid to go pray to Sukkot. What are you doing wrong? And you go make your prostrations according to the Prophet, alayhi his instructions to us, and to the instructions of Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. What am I doing wrong? See? And when I make my we have other things to do after prayer, I do that. What am I doing wrong? And I leave to go home. This is the sunnah. We have a sunnah where when you leave your prayer, you go to your place of work, yes. You go home, yes. But you're not supposed to really frolic and so forth and so on. We have rules about this. Why? To keep you from being in trouble. So what am I doing wrong when I walk out of the masjid to go straight to my family? What crime have I committed? See? And then what crime is it when they bring local criminals to come after you when you come out of the masjid? What is that? And what is the excuse for them to use criminals to go after you when you go to the masjid? See? And when you have policemen who are in the first row, they know what's going on. They know what these people have done, and they're not doing anything. They know it. They know, because they have people watching, they know what the people are doing. They know I'm the only one in there. The rest of them are criminals and we call Khawarij, who they hate Muslims. They see them hitting. They see them putting their thing on my head. They see me come in line and push me. They see that and they don't do anything. And they see me talking to the guy politely. They should come over and say, "Hey man, what are you doing? What are you doing to this check? What is he doing? He's coming to prayer. Why are you doing this?" They don't say nothing. They let these people get away with it. The next day, they bring another guy that does the same thing. Each time they keep changing people. They watch me when I come in through the door. They at the other door. They watch me so they can get next to me in the line. And then they start their kufr by, and some of them are rocking. Here, they're reciting Allah's word, and they're doing this, and they're bumping. They're bumping me, trying to stop me from my prayer. And I'm quiet. I I try to ward them off. I stay put. I gently push them off because I want my reward. I want patience. But after prayer, I talk very lightly with them, politely to ask them, "What are you doing? Why are you doing this?" And I give them the rulings about things like this. So because if they're Muslims, they should be aware of that. And I give that to them. And then, I do my thing inside the masjid, I go home. But if they come after me out there, then, I'm not going to sit there. I'm going to fight back. But I always ask the question. I'm following the sunnah of the Nabi, alayhi salatu wasalam. I'm going home to my family. What am I doing wrong? And if I'm doing wrong, why isn't a police investigator not coming to me to tell me I'm wrong for going to the masjid and going home to my family? And why are criminals are being used to tell me they're from the police when they're not policemen and come to tell me that they're from the police? When I asked them for ID, I said, who, I said, man, Takun. Talked to him. I talked to him in Fosa. I asked him, who are you? Oh, I'm Shirti. They tell me in Arabic, I'm police. And you smell beer and they hashish and everything else on these people. You know they're not police. It's a shame, brothers and sisters. It's a shame. I'm talking about people doing this. The Toubab. The Toubab has 500 years of this type of activity in Africa. This is modern times, and and when they say I'm not responsible for what the slavery did, I'm not responsible for what the bad white people did at this time, but you're recipient of it. You're still carrying out their acts. So what are you talking about? You say you're not responsible. Yes, you're not responsible. You weren't born, but you're still doing the same thing that your forefathers were doing. So what is that? So you can't have it both ways. Yes, we can't blame you for what happened in 1822 or in 1600s or in the 1400s. We can't blame you for that. But you're still carrying out the same policies as your forefathers did. So yes, we blame you for what you're doing now. We can't blame you for the past. See? So yes, describing their deeds, what they're doing, and we should do this. We should, because it's got to stop. We got to stop this stuff. We got to stop it. And I'm hoping in my lifetime that I see that the people who are benevolent not throw out every tuba. That's wrong. We cannot do that. The African people, we are benevolent. You see our history. When we have good whites, they're with us. We don't bother them. Even when we have our own enclaves, we have whites, poor whites, would live with us. Look at the history in the United States. Look, black folk come in communities, whites gravitate towards us who were good people. And we let them live among us. We don't throw them out like they do us. See? So we know the difference between who's good and who's bad. It's just that the Toubab, the wicked Toubab, turns it around because we fight him. He said, look, you see this guy out here? Ah, every white person here in Morocco, he wants to throw them out. He wants to kill them. It's not true. The only one I'm fighting is you because you're fighting me. I want to see the good Toubab. Matter of fact, you know what? I take that back. I did meet one gentleman, very, very nice, when I first got here. Very, very nice. And I don't know what happened to his brother. I can't think of his brother's name. I can't think of, I invite him to my house, and me and my wife, we used to talk to him a lot, and then he moved. I don't know what happened to him. So we know the difference between what's good and what's bad. See? And it is a test. And Subhanahu wa ta'ala tests the Muslims in many varieties of ways. And and I'm being tested, and I've been tested for a very long time. Sometimes it is overwhelming, but you know what? That's why we have prayer, and subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing your patience. And we have a term in Arabic in subhanahu wa ta'ala, wada Allah, meaning the promise of Allah to the mu'mineen, to Muslimin. We have to always remember that in the background. Even we have the trouble here, we have to always promise that the promise, we know we will have a day that we will, we'll be free of this with his permission. And I'm saying to you now, I want to know and I'm saying to my brothers who are watching this, who's sitting in the national offices and so forth, I want to know, why am I wrong from walking from my house to go to the masjid? And they show me in the Qanun, because I know the Qanun, I read it. And we have a term there that says the Aqidah Muslim, meaning the Muslim's faith. You are not to fight that. So I want to know, why is it these people are fighting me when I'm going from my house to the masjid, and inside the masjid, they fight me? I want to see in the Qanun meaning the law, where I'm wrong for praying inside the masjid or walking to the masjid and walking home from the masjid. I want to see where that is in the Qanun, and where is the policeman who's supposed to come to me to talk to me and say, why are you going to the masjid? Or why are you praying inside the masjid? I haven't had that happen yet. I've had false policemen do this. They say they're from police, and I know they're not. I know they're not, but I always ask, where's your ID? Give me your ID. You say you're from the police? I want to see your ID. But I know they're liars. See, okay, but you are being tested in your and yes, we all. Sheikh Gumi. I don't know if you guys heard. It made international news. He was denied Hajj here when he went here a couple of weeks back, and they arrested him, and then they sent him back to Nigeria. What did he do wrong? See, these are you're going to have things like this. We're in this type of world now where we're going toward ends time. We're going to have wickedness. See, and who am I to measure? But effort and hope for best. But all things go back to Allah for decision. Yes, we. This is true. That's why we always say Allah Alam, and we always say that because He knows. He knows best, and whatnot. And but we have certain things that we should do, and we can't change or wrong because I'm not in the power. I'm not the ruler. I'm not policeman. I have no power to change things. All I can do is talk. Because when you see a problem, you suppose there's these four conditions. I won't get into that. It's Islamic. I'm within rights of the Sunnah. I'm talking about something, and because I have no other power, I can't legislate. I'm not a policeman. I don't have the rights like this. I'm not a legislator. So I have to change it with my heart and with my words. That's the only thing I can do. But I have to expose this because at my age now, there's not many luxuries we have left because you get older. You know what I mean? So now one of the luxuries, and they know that. That's why they attack the old men like us. They know we want to go to the masjid because we love that. So they attack us. And that's why I'm asking my brothers here to stop these bastards from doing this stuff. Let us go to the masjid. Okay? I still go to the masjid. But there's other ones that have been beaten. They're scared. They won't go to the masjid. And I'm asking my brothers to go stop these guys from this stuff. Because they are parading around at Fajr prayer in their cars looking to see who's going. When they see somebody who's not among the Khawarij and who's not working with the embassy, U.S. embassy, they go after them because they know who's going to the masjid. They got to stop this. Yes, I mean. Yes, I mean. A few more brothers and sisters and I got to get. Uh, it is wickedness. It is pure wickedness. And I've said this. It is pure wickedness. It is. And what is the name of the sheikh? What sheikh are you talking about, my dear brother? Oh, Sheikh Gumi. Yes, Nigeria. You read. There's a yes, Sheikh. Let me put his name here for you. You guys read what happened to him in Saudi Arabia. I know him, and I think he's a relative of mine too, because we almost look alike. This is him here. Okay, where we got here? Yeah, here we go. It would happen to him. Things happen, brothers and sisters, with our religion. It's just some things that are going on, and something happened to him, and he was doing nothing wrong, and he talked about it ill and he talked about it wrong, and he was punished for it to a degree, meaning not punished according to the law, but he's punished by those who are wrongdoers. Okay, and he was arrested and he was held and he was finally sent back to Nigeria. He was not allowed to make his pilgrimage, which was in itself bad. But I'm not allowed to make mine either. See, so this is this is again somebody that and I see the prayer. I miss Maghrib. I'll be making my prayers here now and everything. Brothers and sisters, I got to go, and those who have watched this today, please be careful wherever you may be, and so forth and so on. And I don't expect any of you. Each one we have our test, and I don't expect any one of you to do anything and say anything that will get you in trouble. I'm at the age now where I'm not doing anything wrong, and I tell you this right now: there's nothing, even with the wicked Toubab here, brothers and sisters. This country here is something to behold. The people here are good. I will tell you that, and African Americans who have come here, and we have those living here, they will tell you that we got good people here, and we have good good climate. We have different beauty. It's beautiful here. See, but the Toubab doesn't want to see you here. Just like that Moroccan criminal came to me when the Toubab told me, you go tell him this word. He didn't even understand the word, but he expelled it for me, even though he spoke broken English. He said, you, Nigger, we don't want you here. But the Toubab was telling him to tell me. He called me this word. And we have laws in Morocco about Tamiz Ansari. This is really bad when you have this. In the Arabic language, we have a word I told my brother before, we call it Zenji. Zenji is it's equivalent to Nigge word. And some of them will even use that in behalf of the wicked Toubab. But 99.9% Moroccans you see outside, they're not like this. You go, I mean, I go to the bakery, I go here, I go, and people, they're just kind. The sisters, they see me, sometimes the bread, I get a lot of bread because I like to go to pastry because I love the smell of the bread in the morning, right? I go there. The sisters, they see me, they know who I am. And so I care, and they'll put the bread, they're very kind with me. They put the bread in my bag and everything for me, so I can take it home to the family. And we have that. And we have this type of thing here in Morocco. We got beautiful people here. It's not everybody. It's just those wicked criminals who have been employed by the embassy and by the wicked Toubab. It's them. But don't make mistake, brothers and sisters, here. You can come here and find a wife easy. You can come here and live here. People do. African Americans do live here. But the Toubab is not welcoming the strong Muslims. Not all, not everybody else. The ones who are not, they don't care about you. But the strong, devout Muslims and stuff, they don't want you here. They'll tell you straight out, they'll fight you to keep you from here. But the other ones, they don't care about. Because there's only a few of you here and there. They don't care about that. But people like me, they don't want to see that. And they don't like that. See, that's why they go after people who come talk to me. They go after them to stop them. So, brothers and sisters, this is, a different talk today. I was long, but I told the truth. And Subhanahu wa Ta'ala knows what's in my heart. He knows my niyyah. He knows I only want to do right. I want my day. I want my prayers. I want to be able to pray in peace according to the Sunnah Nabi alayhi salatu in the masjid. I should not have to, as a man, as a Muslim, at my age, I should not have to go to the masjid and have to do this. Okay? You understand? I'm 70 years old. I'm making my prayer. I got to fight the guy because he's employed, push his hand off me. Or I'm here like this in the row, all Muslims know, and he's pushing me, trying to push me in the thing. And then they try to lie, talking about, oh, you don't understand the salat. We supposed to do this and that. They try to play games. They know what they're doing. And I say, I know better than you. I know what you're doing. And you got it wrong. You don't even know what you're doing in prayer. So, and I should be able to have that peace and walk home and, and make my digger to Allah and then go home. Or if I want to go to the bakery and get the stuff for my family, because sometimes my wife's family, they want things. They want maybe some the pastries they make early in the morning with the bread. So I go there. What is the wrong in that? See, I should not have to walk and have criminals in a car and those brothers, Moroccan brothers who understand everything, they know, and they kalam fasha with me, okay? Kalam fasha alay on me. That's what I said in Arabic, use bad words to me. I'm walking to go home, or I'm going to the bakery to get something, or I go to the bank or something like this. What is the wrong? Why should these people come around me, use that kind of language with a man my age? They should be respecting me. They don't, because the Toubabs ordered them for them to talk to me in this manner. It's wrong. So I'm talking, complaining about it today. And I'm doing the right thing under the sunnah to expose it. And I am exposing it again today. I've talked about this issue. Now it's even worse. When they were trying to get me to go out there, they lined up the cars to get me so they can surround me, to kidnap me. That's a serious business. And there's Toubab behind it. There's two of them I know for sure is behind it. And there's another Moroccan who's lived in America. He's behind this as well, where I used to live. So I got the full scoop on who's behind it. I wish the investigators come so we can start to get behind this, because it's wrong before somebody get hurt. because I'm going to defend myself. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to defend myself when I come out of the masjid, or going to I'm going to defend myself, and I'm going to do the best I can to restrain myself inside the masjid. But I'm telling you right now, again, brothers and sisters, you just hear what I'm saying. How would you like it? You go to the masjid, and here you trying to pray, you hearing the imam recite the Quran, the beautiful words of Allah, and you got to do this. Push the people off you for hitting you. And you go down to prayer to Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and he's putting his elbow here, or he's putting it here or here. Who do that? Who does that? So, brothers and sisters, I must conclude. I must go to prayer now. So, salam alaikum, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.